everyone. Not sure if everybody's getting my notices that I'm on for the last few days, but so let's see how it goes today and how many people come in. It seems people are watching it afterwards, which is cool. But not too many people are getting the notifications when I'm live. Maybe one day I'm going to have those notifications and there's going to be 1,000 people here. I don't know what I'd do. So Venus has gone retrograde. Yay! And as she goes retrograde, I think this is the start of a journey for us all on really coming out of our ego. And as the sun will be going into tomorrow, the 23rd, yeah, the sun will go into Leo, you know, and sun's going to be at home. Sun's going to, this isn't, coming in with this beautiful intensity of the energies of the sun and bringing that energy forward. So there's a lot of, to staying positive, staying grounded is going to be extremely important over the next 30 days, not getting your, yourself poked by the bear, or you poking the bear, either or you're being the bear and you got poked. You really have to come back into yourself and really come into your light. A few things, and I want to say, it's if it's not already um, out there, there's a lot that's going on, and I'm gonna say one of the reasons. Somebody asked me, why do I always talk about prepping, blah blah blah. Well, the thing is like, I look at it this way. It's putting money aside. That's what it is when you're putting food aside, and it's very important to go through it. It's not just to prep it and leave it there. It's to allow yourself to rotate through the stock that you got, so so that it gets used and it doesn't get stale. So that's very important when you're doing it, and plus the time when you're with your earnings and with money, there's always an ebb and a flow. There's times when you have great resources and times when you don't. And so when you got the times when you don't have the great resources, you have that there. It's there. It's in the wintertime when that's why in my mother's time, which wasn't that long ago, it was, you had your garden. I mean, I live in a beautiful with a beautiful backyard. It's not mine, right? I rent. But this backyard would not be grass. You know, Half this backyard would have been garden. In my mother's time, it would not have been grass. And when I look at it, because we're on a pretty big lot here, um, and our landlord has owned this for good 25 years, so it's paid for. Um, this lot would have been utilized and dug up and fenced off, and you would have had the tomatoes, you would have had peas growing up on the side and all kinds of things. Like it would have been utilized. Nowadays, people aren't utilizing that land, right? And which is very sad. So if you don't own your own land, if you don't own it, then it's finding a place where you can. Is there a community garden? Or if you didn't get in on the community garden this year, can you get on it next year? um, Prepping to me is important, and I do it in different ways. I do go to farmers market and buy produce and bulk. There are different organizations in Calgary here that you can go and you can get produce for very, very cheap, and you can go pick it up. And to do those things, but you got to rotate through it. And with India right now stopping the export of over 40% of rice to the world, and that includes Canada, that, and California exports rice as well, and their exports are down. You got to think of why they're stopping the exports, and with the threat of other things that are going on, right? You see my garden this year; it's flourishing. That's beautiful. That's great, and I hope with it flourishing, I hope you're really utilizing what you have in your garden by freezing it, by canning it, saving some seeds for next year, making sure that you are drying what you can dry and things like that. those are the things that, because I know sometimes people have great gardens, but they're not utilizing it to the full potential. So utilizing what you have in your garden to the full potential. So that means if you have, beans, are you cutting the beans? Are you shelling the peas and things like that? And so utilizing what you have, because I love it when I see a beautiful garden. I love when people have it. I just want them to utilize it to the full potential that it is. And gardening is not easy. It's it's a lot of work. You got to get out there and weed and stuff. But with what you're going to be seeing, and this is what I've been trying to tell people, it's like, yes, you hear, okay, India is going to stop export. We don't know how long for. We don't know, the whole reasoning behind it. Well, kind of do. But this is where you start to look at it. It's like you're not going to see the price increase at the beginning. Price increase will be in over three months, 3 to 4 months, and then you start really seeing the prices really gradually go up. They're not going to do a whole jump in prices within within a week or so. So it's a gradual thing. That's, I think, one of the things, the beautiful thing of me working in the grocery store was I got to see that every week the prices went up, or they went on sale, and then the following week they went up by 50 cents or a dollar, to where all of a sudden you don't realize that that price of whatever it was, let's say I'm going to go use the Tide laundry detergent, goes from 14.99 when it was on sale, then it went up back up, to 22.25, between 22 and 25. Next thing I saw, it was like $32. So, and that's within a 6 months radius. Okay, so that's within 6 months. So this is what you're going to be seeing. It's like, okay, the things like grain, and we've been talking about grain for a while. So things like wheat and stuff. And yes, Canada grows wheat, but we export it and we do all kinds of stuff. But the thing is that the way the world works is that there's an exchange with everything, right? And how that exchange works. And this is where you're not going to see it right away. It's not going to be there right away, but you're going to see it over the next 6 months. Between the next 4 to 6 months, you're going to see these prices increase, and as they are increasing. So this is why it's so important um, to buy in bulk, take the flour, make sure, maybe, I'm just trying to think of anyways, putting them in Mylar bags and things like that, measuring them out, and having them. So we're going to be seeing that. And with Venus retrograde, I mean, this is Venus going to the underground, and she's, in the height of summer and the energies of summer and things like that. Why is India cutting back on the rice exports? Um, well, war. Why does any country do stop the exports on food? They have to stockpile for their own people first. And that's, one of the things that they're doing. They have to stockpile. They have to make sure that they have enough food for their people, and having the food to be exported there. So that's, I mean, that's going to be one of the big reasons. I think one of the other reasons that they were saying, for stopping the export of it. So, I mean, and the thing is that I've been talking about this. I've been warning people about this for so long that, sometimes I feel like I'm just repeating myself. But India's ban on the rice export raises fear of a global food price. India has banned, the non basami Baslamic, or BASMA basmati rice. So rice exports, and the more expensive rice they're going to allow to export, and to curb domestic. Now the reason why they're saying it's to curb domestic inflation, and it's all, and this is coming from the Guardian, which I, whatever. Um, don't trust the Guardian. Guardian brings out bullshit. But anyways, the immediate ban introduces after heavy rains hits domestic crops follows the failure of 20% duty on international exports. So it has to do a lot to do with exports. The amount it costs for them to ship it out costs them more. to what it costs for them to grow, and it's causing issue, international sales of India. Rice soared by 35% in June, contributing to a 3% rise in domestic price over the past month alone. So the people are paying 11.5% more for rice than a year ago in India. I mean, and that's going for all, but that's what they are putting out there, and that's what they're saying, so that people, oh, okay, we understand that. But it's also to make sure that their people have, I mean, especially where India is and where it's located, you know, the whole, So in 2021, Canada exported $22 million in rice, making it the 44th largest exporter of rice. Did not know that. But, the world, that's one of the biggest staples in the world is rice. So we have
We
that.
grow rice here.
Well, that's what it said. We exported $22 million,
When
making
Canada
it
is
the 44th largest exporter of rice in the world. At the same time, rice was 638th most exported product in Canada. The main destination of rice exports from Canada are the United States, Angola, India, Israel. They export it back to India, which is stupid. So, Jamaica. So, you know, so when you start looking at in commodities and you start, looking at how commodities are done, I mean, when you are looking at say prepping and stuff, one of the number one is your security, and that is your home, your resources, the food that you have. The next would be health. So um do you have a first aid kit and everything else, along that line? So I think with this Venus, and I'm going to go back to my Venus retrograde, the thing is with Venus is really going to get us to really begin to take that internal journey on beginning to take care of ourselves, and especially with the feast day of Mary Magdalene, you know, um, and that energy of Mary Magdalene, and having this feast day. So this is really with Venus, I think, for us to go into our own descent, come into our own rituals. That's why I'm doing the 40-day journey of love. And I know for some, it's like, oh my God, 40 days. But I look at it this way: if you were going to go to the gym, let's say there was a yoga program at the gym, it's usually 2 to 3 months, and people sign up for that. And that's how I'm looking at that. This is going to be like your mental and physical gym regime for the next 40 days. And and taking that seriously, allowing yourself to take that seriously over the next 40 days. What is your rituals? What are the things that you are bringing in to your own life in order to help you to ground? And this part of the things that we're going to be doing is called the ego eradicator. And the ego eradicator helps you to become more clear on the things that you want to do. You don't want the ego to rule. You want the heart to rule, right? So this is where we're coming and allowing ourselves to contribute to the healing in the world we so desperately need. So in doing this and coming together in community allows us to eradicate, a lot of the craziness that is happening in the world, and that is just the pressure pot is starting to boil over. I mean, if anybody saw a pressure cooker and the little rattle thing on there, the little thing is rattling like crazy right now, and it's just going crazy. So we need to learn how to take that pressure off, take the pressure off our own selves, in order for so that we are not going down into panic mode or crazy mode, right? And it's not to shut yourself off. It's not to ignore what's going on. I think it's very important to understand what's going on. So that gives you a better security, a better understanding, so that you are feeling more grounded, more focused in what you're doing. So there you guys go. And my sale ends for my 2 1-hour readings, ends tomorrow. So for $150, there's 2 1-hour readings. And great time to get a reading, especially as we enter into the Leo season. Understanding what the next 30 days are for you within this Leo season. Where does Leo lie? Leo, for me, is in the second house. So as we are going into Leo, into the second house, this is going into my resources and allowing me to put a light on how I'm utilizing my resources even more. So it's um, to enjoy the fruits of my labor, with that. So finding out where Leo is in your chart helps you to understand what needs to be part of your focus. What is the sun going to be highlighting, especially when this is the sun's house? And being in my second house, it's ruled by Taurus. What is Taurus? Where's my Venus? My Venus is in Scorpio. So my Scorpio's in the fifth house, which is going back to Leo, right? So understanding, where it is. And where is Venus transiting right now? Venus is transiting in my second house. So Venus is going to play a really big role on my resources and how I create my resources on this time. This is a time for me not to go overindulgence and go crazy with my spending. This is a time for me to really look at and be reserved within my spending and not go into panic mode, which can happen with a Venus in Scorpio, right? Because it can get very intense and overwhelming. And because Venus and Scorpio is very intense, I call it like it's like the Latin lover coming in, and that intensity. If you've ever met a male Latin, a male or Middle Eastern man, they can be all over you, right? They're very powerful and forceful, and that's the way Venus can be when she can in the Scorpio energy. So it's to understand that I need to be a little bit more reserved. I need to be allowing myself to look at my own authentic self-confidence and reserve. What do I need to reserve on? Well, it's in the second house. That means I need to reserve on what my resources are. And my resources have to do, with what Venus is. It has to do with relationships, has to do with money, and it has to do with health. So looking at those three things. So those are the kinds of things I'd be looking at when I do a reading for you. I'd look at, okay, where is it? What do you need to really be focused on? So if you're, let's just take another one. If your Leo is in the fourth house, so this is the home is where the heart is and where your happiness lies. So creating memorable experiences with loved ones provides a sheer delight. That's where it is. So the fourth house is ruled by, everybody's like, I don't know what the third house is ruled by. So the fourth house is ruled by Cancer. So that would be your Cancer house. The Cancer is ruled by the moon. Where is the moon in your chart? So we look at to see where the moon is in your chart. Say your moon is in Libra. So we go into Libra. So the moon in your chart is in Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. Whereas Venus right now transiting your fourth house, whereas Venus in your chart, having that understanding that you need to bring in a balance into your relationships, bring a balance into what you are doing, not to tip the scales too much, especially with her being retrograde, and it's a rare retrograde. It only happens every 18 months. So these are the sort of the little things to look at, and these are the things that I help people to look at within their chart so that they can have, oh, okay, this is what I need to sort of watch out for. And having that map, having that scope gives you a clarity for your own self, right? And giving you that clarity on what you need to look at internally especially over the next 30 days. Thank you. And over the next, not only 30 days but over the next 4 to 6 months. Like what does it mean with interest rates are going to be going up. We know inflation is going to be going up even higher. So we know that there's going to be where we have to really look at how are we creating those abundance and those parts within our own selves to bring in, so we aren't in a panic mode, so we aren't going out and freaking out over somebody cutting us off, on Deerfoot or something. This is like, no, I'm going to pull back, let him go. He's got to go somewhere. I know where I need to go, and I'm not going to allow my energy to go into that. So there you go. So have a fabulous day. If you're wanting to join me tonight, we start tonight. If you can't make any, if you want to join, but you're saying I can't make them all because I have other things and I know it's summertime, it's recorded, and you can always join back. Worksheets every week for you to go through those worksheets, and then we come back every evening and we discuss the worksheets and the questions that are in them, along with doing a Kriya each day. So, and getting people used to doing a Kriya. So, sending you guys out so much love. My husband brought me coffee, and so I'm going to have another cup of coffee and step into my day. So, have a blessed one, everybody. May the Lord Almighty watch over and bless each and every one of you. And shine your light. Don't forget, shine your light, everybody. Bye bye. See y'all. Bye bye.